Hi, I'm Ruth. I'm 44. I'm obsessed with Liverpool Football Club. I love travelling. I'm going to live in Brazil one day, and I'm also an adopter. I was a career woman, and I had been a CEO. I'd always loved children my whole life. I've got endless godchildren, and I kind of got to near 40, hadn't met the life partner, and suddenly thought to myself, oh, hang on. And after a while, I went through a process and decided that adoption was probably the right route for me. I'd been a foster parent actually for several years, fostered some beautiful children, and I'd worked with a local authority and found it a really, really difficult experience. And I'd felt that at times I wasn't listened to, and I was caught in this huge process with people who hadn't been on my side of the fence. And then when I looked into Adoption Matters, I rang them and said, I'm a woman in her early 40s, living by herself, I have no idea how this is going to work. And they basically said, we'll help you. And they took my hand and took me all the way through the process and made everything very easy. I realised that a lot of the people who work there understood what it's like to be a foster carer or an adopter, and I just felt that they were on my side. It felt very, very different. I'd always been very sure that if and when I adopted, I'd adopt an older child. 8, 9, 10 even. And then the child that I was paired with and the child that took my heart was 10 months old. And I've never been an expert in looking after children and babies. And the moment she looked at me and I looked at her, my first thought was absolute terror. And my second thought was, oh my goodness, my life's about to change and so is yours. The support I've received from my social worker, Adoption Matters, well, she's like a friend. I mean, I hope she wouldn't mind me saying that because I consider her a friend. She's been with me from day one. And you know, the journey takes a long time. You have to really trust the person that you're with. There's a lot of questions at times almost that feel a bit intrusive, but therefore you have to have someone who you know is with you all the way and is asking the questions for the right reasons. So it doesn't necessarily feel like a social worker-client relationship. I feel a lot closer to her than that. So I'm just profoundly grateful for the time that she spent with me. The other thing that happened to me that was surprising is through the training that you do as you go through the process, I was connected with another single adopter who lives 25 minutes away and adopted a child a few months before I did. And we've become firm friends through that process as well. So actually the people that you meet along the way alongside the social workers, you're encouraged to meet, you're encouraged to spend social time, you're encouraged to share stories, and you're encouraged to support each other. And that's what I really needed. The past year of my life has been a complete and total whirlwind. So I made a complete decision that I was going to be a single adopter. And to be honest, when I did that, I didn't imagine that a partner would come because I thought that this was it now. You know, the idea of being in my 40s and then having a baby, you know, it's going to be pretty difficult to find someone. In reality, as soon as I adopt a child, I meet like a brilliant person. I was initially concerned. I thought, well, I can't have a relationship because I've started this as a single adopter, and that's the box I'm in, and I have to stay in that box. And I almost felt like I had to choose between having a relationship or having the child. And in actual fact, that was absolute nonsense. It was recognised that, you know, falling in love is a part of life, and I was entitled to do that, and that didn't take away from what kind of mum I could be. So for me, it was a huge relief being able to just say, I've met someone and he's really lovely. And I think he'd be really good for my baby as well. And I've been supported in that as well. The highs and lows of adoption for me I'm an impatient person. So for me, once I'd been approved, the next Monday I wanted a child sat there waiting for me to adopt and be a brilliant mum. And that's not how it goes, and things go quiet for a long time, and there are lulls where nothing happens, and they can be lows because you see other people in your training courses get paired with children. You think, why not me? What's wrong with me? But then the call comes. So for me, the obvious high was meeting my daughter and her being my daughter now. But I think just having some patience and trust in the system. And I'm not someone to trust systems at all, but I had to trust this one. I think temptation for me as a single adopter going into this was to focus on what I didn't have. So I didn't have a partner. Was my house big enough? Did I have access to enough other children for this child to play with? And I've just kept focusing on the deficit of what I didn't have. And in actual fact, when you start looking at the children and seeing their lives and seeing what they need love. They need love, and every single person can provide that, and every single person can be like an amazing parent. So for me, I think I wish that I'd gone into this recognising all that I had to give, because now I've got a child in placement, I can recognise I'm a great mum for her, and all the other stuff that I thought was so important when I was going through the process just fell away completely. For me, this adoption journey has been long, it's been profound, it's been life-changing, it's been difficult, and it's been beautiful.